Yo, welcome to Rooster, man. How you doing? Like for real, for real. How you doing? How's the week? All that stuff.
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. The week has been hectic. Not gonna lie. Yeah, a lot going on at once, I think. Can I get into the whole thing or
Yeah,
wait?
of course, of course.
Well, yeah, like I got an opportunity to go to London at the top of next month. And it was a really, really quick process from when I realized I was going to get it to getting all the things together. And
Mhm.
yeah, like juggling that and work and the EP that just dropped and the show that I'm about to do. Um, yeah, a lot of stuff going on, but
Sure.
spirits are high. Spirits are high.
Yeah,
I don't have much to complain about, honestly.
that's good. That's good. How, like you said, it was a quick turnaround for this London trip, but yeah, how you feeling in preparation for it and like when is it again? When about you going?
I'm gonna be in London from the start of July, so I
Yep.
fly out on the 1st of July, and then I fly back at the start of September
Mhm.
for Big Sound.
Yeah.
Um,
So very quick.
yeah, yeah, quick turnaround for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Like, I'm glad that I got like some music out before I left, and I'm glad like that I get to go and honestly just do this. Like, yeah, this is the most time I'll ever be able to spend on just music.
Mm.
For I don't know how long, you know. I've been working a 9 to 5 for yeah, like 4 years now at Triple J Unearthed, and so I'm blessed. Yeah.
No, 100%, 100%. I definitely want to touch on that a smidge more and something that we've already chopped it up about last week when we ran into each other.
Yeah.
But uh yeah, no, and like you said, you dropped the EP, minutiae. Hopefully I said it correct. I know me and EP
It's
were
minutia.
minutia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness, yeah. I mean, you saw the review. If anyone watching, if you haven't seen the review, make sure you go check out the review. But yeah, we were having a whole thing about okay, how do we say this this again? The minutia. Okay. But yes, you dropped the EP. How was the reception been from it? How was it feeling now that you finally got, that body of work out?
I think the reception of it's been good. I'm glad that people are listening to it and like in a long-term sense, like I think people are have been engaging with the content in all of these songs in a way that hasn't really happened um on a project of mine before this. So
Mm.
I'm really happy about that. Like, and it's just I'm happy because the content has been informed like by a very matter of fact and down to earth way that I've just been feeling about life in general. And to express that in a way that I felt like actually expressed how I felt and to have it received in a way that people understood and thought was like not only like touched them, but was cool and it made sense to them. Like, yeah, I can't complain.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. And it's clearly, like you said, it's been received in such a way that again hasn't been received like any other project, which is wild because you've dropped some really already personal stuff, and again, it's not like this is your first release or it's only been a couple years. You've been doing this,
Right.
so um yeah, no, to circle back to minutia, why that title, especially something that is so hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I had to hit you with the Latin spelling on that. That's probably what fucked people up. Um, I think I think minutia it really speaks to I guess the amount of time that I have to make music now. I think um working in the industry and working 9 to 5 and dealing with the obligations of just feeding myself and keeping myself alive, like there's just less time to spend on like really getting into the weeds with music.
Mm,
So I feel like the title kind of speaks to the lack of time that I have in my everyday life, and it feels like um, this music is becoming a smaller facet of my life, and I'm coming to terms with that in ways that I'm still like grappling with.
mhm.
Um, Also, like I think in terms of the subject matter that I am talking about on the EP, Um, I'm trying to like let people know that through the music, I'm kind of like trying to understand the small details of my life, but also the external influences that are affecting it. Like, I think that's one of the things I'm trying to do just in everyday life is just try and understand the crux of things before I even decide to speak on them,
Yeah.
and I think that's where the project title comes from.
hmm No, for sure, for sure. And like kind of like what you were saying, the realization of music is kind of going in a weird path in comparison to again your 9 to 5, again what you've been doing at Unearthed. Um, kind of like how do you feel like you find that balance uh, uh in the duality of being someone who's an artist but also someone who is a part of the tastemaker community that is Unearthed, where you're also pretty much again choosing who does and doesn't get played, or a part of the team that chooses who does and doesn't get played on Unearthed, and
Yeah.
the Triple J sphere in general.
Damn. I think uh in terms of juggling that role with my artist persona, it's been a learning curve for sure. I think um I am always going to be at odds with people just knowing me as a person who um can shine light on and provide opportunities for other people in music.
Yeah.
And um I think it's really, really telling when you interview someone and they can tell that you have a nuanced perception of their music, but they don't understand that it's because I make music
Mhm.
at such a like a high level.
Mhm.
Um, so I think there's a lot of like ego death to it. I think like there's me just stepping into a role that has nothing to do with what I value most about my expression and stuff like that. But uh, I've learned so much from the journey, I guess. I've learned so much from like just experiencing another person's music from the outside, like a first time listener, and figuring out how to maybe blend those experiences and blend those pieces of knowledge into the way that I make music. So yeah, I'm trying to just be glass half full with that stuff now.
For sure, for sure. And how do you feel like you approach collaboration now? Obviously you work with the likes of Voldy, who's multiple times on this EP and consistent collaborator. The likes of Mali Jose, who I think most people who are on knowledgeable about his music consider him probably one of the best hip hop artists in the scene, as well as you're not just as much an artist but a producer, and probably have produced for a lot of these people in these similar circles. So yeah, how do you feel like the process of collaboration has been going since you've again entered the unearthed sphere?
I think I've been trying to like widen my net or widen my scope of who I collaborate with and the music that I collaborate inside of. Um, I think because I work at Triple J Unearthed, like I just listen to so much music, and I've like learnt to find the bits of that music that I love in ways that I never thought that I would. And now like I've got so much to say in different ways that I haven't said before, but I kind of need people to collaborate with in order to express that stuff.
Mhm.
But I do think like um when you when you interview someone that you like actually really fuck with and you're like, I want to collaborate with you, I think it's kind of hard for them to see you as anything else except the interviewer.
Mhm.
And it's the most cringy thing to be like, I just interviewed you for half an hour, but check out my music. I'm actually nice.
I've done that before. I know exactly what you mean. I finish a Rouge room and I turn around and be like, Jesse, who films all the Rouge rooms when it's in person,
Hmm.
he needs to shoot some B-roll and stuff. And I'm like, All right, yo. So let me show you some some of the stuff I'm actually working on, and we just sit there just listening while Jesse just feel it's just so funny and so stupid, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's super weird. It's and I really, really want to work with so many of the people that I interview and so many of the people that whose music I'm listening to. But yeah, I think um that's a bridge that maybe will be crossed at some other point. I think maybe just the perception of who I am to people who've experienced me in this realm only.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, maybe just like need some time to figure out that I can operate in different ways. Maybe I don't know.
No, for sure, for sure. And finally, before we get into some more things specifically about the EP, I'm curious what a day in the life of Ijale looks like with this 9 to 5 music balance.
Hmm. Um. Well, I think I am blessed to have like a job that like pays for my expertise and not exactly my face-to-face time. So I think I'm allowed to work from home. I'm allowed to work in the studio that I'm at right now. And that frees me up to just to have like the travel time back at the very least to be like, all right, I'm at the studio already, so I can switch from A to B and Voldy can come in for a session and it is just what it is. But sometimes I'll be working from like, you know, 9:30 and then I'll switch and then I'll have a session from 6 to 11 that night, for example.
Yeah.
Or I'm just doing content stuff. Yeah, I sleep is hard to come by, I think. But I've learnt to just do things in a way that like compartmentalizes all the stuff that needs to fall away. Like I meal prep like a I'm mixy in the kitchen, and I'm good. I know how to maximize that part of my life. So I'm eating good, eating healthy, um, and still have time to do other stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm trying to be a well-oiled machine.
For sure, for sure. Do you have a go-to meal prep that's like the rotation right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm doing this like slow cooked chicken thighs with caramelized onion pasta.
Hmm.
Like high
Oh, okay.
protein. I got all this like cottage cheese going on in there. It's delicious, and it's like it's the economies of scale in it. I can make 12 meals out of one like cooking session. I'm like, yeah, that's I'm gonna keep going back to that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, you just gotta find that one thing that's just consistent enough to just be like, okay, I can knock this out. 10 minutes, boom, package, package, package.
Exactly. I'm not doing the tuna and rice thing. Like I'm too old for that. Like I have to have some nuance in there.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's move on to some more specific EP stuff. Now I want to kind of talk about the visuals and the artwork slash uh this visualizer. That side note, um, before I continue, is the visualizer up on YouTube? Am I tripping? Or
It's not just yet. It's not just yet. We're trying.
okay,
I'm gonna put like a long player version of the
mm,
whole EP, like in a way that you can't quite skip from song to song. Like I want that to come up a little bit later.
okay,
But yeah, that is coming soon for sure. Yeah,
okay.
it's just like a time lapse video of what you have seen in the snippets on socials of me just like repairing and fixing this reel-to-reel tape player that I have in the studio right now.
Mhm. No, for sure. And um, talking about said tape player, what is the importance of again doing something so what someone would think is mundane, like assembling and disassembling the tape recorder as you have, visually shown, and um, even meditative.
Mm.
How, yeah, what do you think the importance of that?
Well, I chose to like center the visuals of the actual drop around that because like I actually did that. Like I bought this reel-to-reel tape player off Facebook Marketplace because I've just experienced so many different plugins of tape emulation,
Mhm.
and I wanted the real thing. So I bought one. I learned how to restore it and fix it from start to finish. Like I spent so much money. Like, but I think the idea of using that as a metaphor with the project, it just
Mhm.
allowed me to like show people that for some reason I can't really like spend money or spend time on myself unless it's geared towards the music.
Mhm.
And so it's a commentary on that, but it's also like a real world commentary on that when I do something that just allows my body or my hands to move, like it frees up my mind to think about things that are just in the periphery of my thoughts. And when I was doing this, like I spent a lot of time fixing this real player. Like last year, that was the time when I was, listening to a lot of podcasts and
Mm.
like dialing into the information that I needed to know about like the Israel-Palestine conflict and the genocide that's going on there and all the stuff that's going on in Congo and Sudan, and like I was just like downloading whilst I was I guess doing this thing in tandem. And I don't know why my brain works that way. It's just like I need to do something with my hands to free up my mind to conceptualize and come to terms with shit.
For sure. For sure. And I I honestly have a kind of similar thing, not so much as intuitive, but like I like just stimulating FIFA. Like, but just watching just a screen and just, writing in some statistics and da 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 doing it's cheesy, but
100%.
allows me to again consume and again relax, take in all the information that I need to personally, as much as while I love driving as well.
Mm.
Uh,
That's a good place for me to do that as well. Yeah.
has there been a specific podcast, or even if you've tapped into music, a song of yours, like from the project, if you've been re-listening to, or someone else's music that has really clicked whilst in the process of cleaning, disassembling the
Mm.
tape?
Um, as far as a podcast goes, there's a podcast called Wiser World. And that's literally just like a very well researched, like codified version of any type of world conflict or historical um, issue that is going on right now, but has deeply rooted ties in like past events. So that helped me a lot in like realizing what is going on with a lot of the current affairs today. Um, but in terms of like a song on the EP that has kept on developing as I've been working on it and has like really seen a lot of change and growth would probably be the last track on the EP called Grateful.
Mm.
I don't listen to my music back. Like I really don't, be like bumping it in the whip for enjoyment like that.
Mm.
But that song is like a song that I'll return back to when I actually need like optimism and like
Mm.
strength. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. And I actually have a kind of a segue based on that. Not just grateful, but in 3, 2, 1, you talk a lot about your ancestors and your lineage looking out for you and you living out their dreams. Do you feel like there is anyone in particular that is that said ancestor, whether family, historical figure that is looking out for you?
Damn. Well, my actual like my artist pseudonym Ijale is my dad's eldest brother who passed away like maybe a decade ago now. I feel like he was a stoic influence in my dad's life, and he didn't say much, but I think I feel like when I was able to sit down with him and converse with him, like he was just a really calming and I don't know, positive presence in my life. Like, in my formative years, especially in the handful of times I went back there.
Mm.
So I always kind of picture him in
Yeah.
my head as someone who's watching over me. Um, yeah, I think I'd say he was the one.
Fair enough. Do you have a core memory attached? Like what's the first one that you're like, yes, that is probably my favorite memory with uh
Him.
yeah, with him.
I think just cooking, like being
Mm.
in the village and like being around the fire and um having him just I guess sitting and watching because he was he was quite old at the time. Um it's something that I notice about my dad. Like just
Yeah,
watching him be happy, observing everybody fulfilling a role and collaborating and working on this one thing. Like I think he found such peace and joy in his family just existing. And I always thought that was really beautiful. And my dad is the same way. He'll just like every time we're all together, he'll just like exit himself from the conversation, just sit back and smile and just like look at everything that I don't know. Yeah, he just seems so proud in those moments. So I think he got that from his elder brother too.
for sure, for sure. Kind of a final thing on like family and you know, um, again, just the idea of being black in this so-called country. Do you think there is, or what do you think is the importance of like holding on to and pushing forward that aspect of, your heritage in this space, in this community and music scene? Yeah, yeah.
I think
And also other stuff as well.
yeah, I like in this industry in particular, I feel like it's super easy to water yourself down for uh wider appeal and wider acclaim. And there's always this weird feeling that there can only ever be one black
Mm,
person or black artist who's popping at any given moment because that's the only space that we're allowed in terms of the wider Anglo appeal in any given genre.
mhm,
And yeah, to hold on to that and to just keep banging down the door with your actual true identity, I think it'll allow people to start to add validity and empathy to people who look like you, to people who sound like you,
sure.
from people who don't live in the way that you do.
Mhm,
Yeah, and I think there's so many people in Australia who are doing that right now, like that deserve nationwide support. And just because they, you know, don't look like the person who's bumping someone else on the radio, they don't really get that. And I don't think that's something that we can control, but I definitely would love that to change.
no, for sure. And I 1000% agree. Like again, the scope of people who look like us who are doing such creative and interesting and amazing things is ridiculous. And some of the community, you know, uh events or things that I've seen and witnessed is a true testament to again what we can do when we again subvert from the norm or what people think we should be, or that whole like there should only be one of us kind of thing. And on that same in that same breath, have you witnessed any event or community gathering or just random, gathering of Black African Australian people that has been particularly touching to you?
Yeah, for sure. Recently I got nominated for this award by this Afrocentric I guess organization called the Amari Gala.
Mm,
Um, I got nominated for Artist of the Year, I think, with people like Jerome Farah and CD and Solly. And that was just like, those three names are people who are out here
yeah,
who have something distinct and unique to say from top to bottom, from their image, from what they're saying to how they deliver it. And it was just cool to be recognized by an Afrocentric, in like specifically,
yeah,
organization like that. And yeah, I always feel a little bit maybe at odds with the idea that it is only us that can give us that kind of validity. But I also think that like it's who else? You know what
yeah,
I mean? If not us, who else?
of course.
So it was nice to be embraced by the community in that way.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, like you said, if no one's gonna give us our flowers, then we might as well create our spaces that where we can give each other our flowers, and hopefully people or the rest finally pick up and run with that. But if not, then cool, because at the end of the day, we got to look out for us first.
100%.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
no, I love that. And I've seen Instagram of, the Amari Gala. Unfortunately, it's not in my city, it's also in yours. And I'm like, I'm so jealous. It looks like such a amazing event and so
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, hopefully one of these days I can actually pull up to one for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, one more track on the EP or a moment that stood out was the opener, Get Active, a banger. But I did want to talk about the opening line, which is also the opening line of the EP, which is real ones don't get mad, real ones get active.
Mm.
What was the catalyst for that opening line?
I think I I feel like hip hop is such a male dominated genre. A lot of hip hop artists treat it like a sport. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the get active kind of comes from a little bit. But in terms of like the messaging that we're giving out to people who listen to this type of music, I feel like as men, it's would make sense that we look at the issues that are pervading male spaces and all of this toxicity, all of this like hypermasculinity that is targeted at people who have been marginalized. Like,
Mhm.
it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I feel like, violence against women is a huge thing that just doesn't seem to be taken half as seriously as it should be.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a space that kind of operates in a way that allows that to fester.
Mhm.
And I've always thought that people who can't regulate their emotions just like need to get in touch with their emotions, but like in a way that they understand. Like, and it's usually something physical. So,
Yeah.
if you move your body, then you're way less inclined to be stuck in those cyclical, toxic thoughts of the mind. If
Mhm.
you just touch some grass and fucking get a hobby, maybe you won't think about those things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, facts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I don't know. Just when you think that the scene kind of moves forward, like it's one of those two steps forward, one step back, or even it's just one step forward, one step back. Sometimes, like to be even more truthful, like you think there's some progression, and then someone will say something or do something that's like, come on, like
Yeah. It's not even just like someone says something polarizing that is disappointing because they have the mouthpiece and the audience to affect that. But it's also like I see people just out and out lying about lives that they do not live
Mhm.
in this game. And because they don't have the hypermasculine, violent life that seems to be celebrated in hip hop, they'll
Mhm.
automatically revert to ripping on or objectifying a woman because that's something that they can find entrance into. It's like you don't live that life. You aren't a bad man.
Yeah,
And in order to like find someone to disparage you, disparage a woman, like
yeah,
that's lame to me.
no, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I 1000% agree. Um, Yeah, no, and uh it's only right that again, you can look at that bar and be like, okay, cool. It feels like a very again, it's a hip hop kind of bar, but the deeper tones of it is like, nah, like come on. Like there's this sense of again, like you said, hypermasculinity that just needs to be again.
100%. And it's not like real ones don't get angry. I'm saying real ones don't get mad. Real ones don't go crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
sure. Now as we get to the latter half of this Ruse Room episode, there's these things I like to do, um kind of like staples of Ruse Room. I'm kind of adjusting one of them. I did it. I tried it last one on the Rich Brian interview I did, so I'm kind of continuing it, simplifying it, which is kind of like a show and tell kind of situation. Take it back to primary school days,
Mhm.
and what I've asked you to do is gather an item from your personal space that if I stepped in would have been like, oh, that stands out. That's interesting. So I've asked you to gather one sentimental, one funny, and one life-changing item. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's start with the funny. Let's start with what is a funny item from your room that if I walked in or has a funny story along with it that I'd be like, huh. And then you'd be like, all right, let me tell you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to get off screen for this, but let
That's
me
all right.
get that. We'll start with the funny one first. Um, okay. This is I'm not even sure if you're gonna be able to see this. I love cats.
Okay.
This is like the tiniest hand painted drawing of a cat that my partner found in a thrift shop,
True.
and I don't know why, but every time I see it, it just makes me happy. Um, I honestly don't know. It's like this tiny little black cat,
It's just so random, but it's just like,
random thing, and you probably wouldn't notice it when looking at the studio, but if you spend enough time in here, you probably would have seen it and been like, "What the hell?" But
yeah.
yeah, that's the funny thing. What
Before we
was
move on
things?
to whatever's next, how's your when did you feel like you decided you're a cat person over a dog person or any other animals?
Oh, I didn't decide that I'm a cat person over a dog person, but I think I like cat stees. They don't need you as much. They're
Mm.
they're, they're more self-sufficient, and um I like the attitude. I like the attitude of cats.
Okay, you there for the sassiness, the like,
100%.
man, like get out my face.
Yeah.
The
Like
dogs are
like
excited.
I don't need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Cats are like, please. I mean, like dogs are just like, please love me because I
yeah,
love you so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. But that's cute. I love that. The small. Oh, wow. The
I love
small.
that too. Yeah.
All right. Let's go one sentimental. What's a sentimental thing that would catch someone's eye walking into your studio?
Okay. There is. I've got two of these.
Mhm.
But this is one of the first things I ever bought with my own money. It was the first
Mhm.
trip when I went to Nigeria,
Mhm.
and I bought these from just like a hawker on the street. And there's one male and one female kind of warrior
Mhm.
sculptures that I got in my studio. One's back over there, and it reminds me of home every single time I look at it. But it also reminds me that I think just of the spirit
Mhm.
of this room, like the goals that I'm trying to achieve whilst I'm in here, kind
For
of thing.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. How old were you when you copped it?
I was 12 years old.
True, 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 true. And when you first saw it when you were 12, what was kind of the lens that you were, if you can put yourself back into 12-year-old
Mm.
yourself, like when you first saw it and being like, I want to cop that.
Um, I liked that they had like little accessories you could take off them. Like you could take the spear out of the person's hands. I thought that was dope because I
Mhm.
was like obviously like 12. I was like, all right, it's basically a figurine, but
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and I think just the fact that there was like a male one and a female one, I was like, that's hard.
Hmm. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, comes in a set.
Yeah.
Got the tag team. But and then finally, what is there something about that um uh figure that as you've again grown up, matured, that you've maybe done a little bit more research, that you're like, oh wow, that's very interesting. Could be about the style, or even if you know the artist, or the region that it's from. Yeah.
This was specifically from Abuja, which is the military capital of Nigeria,
Yeah.
which is kind of where my village is from. Um, I guess like maybe the special thing is that like I've realized after doing a bunch of like research into my own culture that there's like these troops of artists and musicians who are also warriors. Like I guess they use music in like rites of passage and stuff like that. So it was just cool to see like music used in celebration used in uh I'm not going to say warfare, but in a to it showed me the strength that music had and the power that it held in my culture of my people.
For sure. I love that. I love that. And it's always cool to go back on something that you've had for a while and be like, let me look into that a little bit more and
100%. Yeah.
learn like that.
I feel like because I, didn't grow up there, I had to like learn and seek out a lot of stuff for myself. So it was cool that the fact that I, for some reason, held on to these like since I was 12 and saw that and was gravitated towards it, I felt like that was a special connection that is that I
Mm,
don't have to research, that it's just a part of me kind of thing.
for sure, for sure. And yeah, the whole idea of researching, your background and all that's like the things that are sentimental about your culture, but living here or growing up here is goodness, a Taylor's oldest time.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very relatable. But the final item is what is one life-changing thing that would stand out?
Um, I would honestly like say this microphone.
Mm,
Like,
okay.
I don't think I would have any nearly a sense of it of a depth of personality or and uh maybe a pride of place
Mm,
as I have now if I didn't learn how to like make music and be a vocalist for sure. And
yep.
this mic in particular sounds so good on my voice, it's not funny. Um, like I started on like an $80 mic,
Yep.
and um, I've built my way up to get this microphone, which is a recreation of a really, really famous microphone from the 70s.
Hmm.
And just the way it sounds on my voice is crazy,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So I think it reminds me that, yeah, I like expensive things, but but um no, like I think it just represents the fact that like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you've put the time, you put the effort, you put the finances into building that knowledge and understanding of equipment such as a microphone, such as again the aforementioned tape recorder and that stuff that again you can be like, this is life changing because obviously it's nice and it's a nice thing to have, but at the same time because you've spent all that time tailoring or spending all that time researching and stuff like that, it's allow you to, you know, set up whatever's next in your artistry, production, anyone else you collaborate with.
100%. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, just even the stuff that I'm sitting on right now was like I'm so proud of the music that I'm making, and I'm so proud of the music that has been made with this microphone. Like not just me, like people who've been in front of this microphone have done some wild things. Yeah.
Is there a favorite track of yours and a favorite track of someone else's that's released that they've recorded or you've recorded on their mic?
Yes. Favorite track of mine, it's not out yet. But it'll be on the next project, however that comes out.
Mhm.
But favorite track of someone else's, it would be a tie. It would be Voldy's track. Uh, it's also not out yet. Um, put it out, Voldy. No, there's a track called Know That I Pray that is criminally underrated.
Yeah.
That like first and foremost, I did so little to his voice. It just sounded so good, like raw out of this microphone. Sounds mad. And there was a track that I released like late last year with Boy Soda. It's called Level 30.
Yeah.
It was one of the first times he was in this space, and he recorded a verse that he then redid to the one that you can now hear. But oh, the verse that he first did was like you. He's a chameleon, and it. I love the original demo verse that he did so much that I still kind of go back and listen to it. But I understand why he changed it. Like it's more him, but it just shows how much fun we were having in the room and how much fun he felt like he could have on the mic because of the energy that was around. So yeah.
No, for sure. Okay. Okay. Well, like you said, Voldy.
Nah.
Right.
Get it out. I think it's his next single is what I'm talking about. So yeah, you
Okay.
should hear that soon.
Okay. Easy. Keen. I'm keen. And finally, outside of that, another Ruse Room staple. My favorite way to close it out is,
This one,
Jale, I want you to build your ultimate collab track.
uh,
What we're going to do is it is going to be all local artists. It's yourself. Actually, no, before I get to that, would you like to be the producer or would you like to be an artist on the track? Which one?
just for purely selfish reasons, I'd like to be an artist.
Okay, amazing. So it's going to be yourself, three other artists, one producer, one videographer, and one director.
All right. I'm gonna go with people I haven't worked with because that just makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to work with Ashley. You know Ashley?
Yeah, with the eye.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's got
Yep.
an amazing voice. She's got an amazing, amazing voice. I would work with maybe Goldfang.
Okay.
We could do something cool. And the third artist, Devora, I
Okay.
think. Yeah. Yeah. She's on one just consistently.
Yeah.
Um, Producer, only one producer.
Only I can open it up. If there's a bunch, then sure. I just say one, but
All right. It would be fuck. It would be a three-way tie.
Mhm.
Do that
Okay.
between AY, Jay Cooper, and Chelsea Warner.
Ooh. Okay, that's interesting.
Any one of those three, I would be happy to be in the room with. Um, and director, you said?
Mhm.
Like,
Videographer and director.
um, Aaron Ball's nice with it.
Hmm.
Yeah. He knows what to do. He knows what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That would.
Okay.
Mm.
Nice. Nice. So, once again, it is yourself, Ashley, Goldfang, Devora, who's outside screaming. Um, um, production by AY, Jay Cooper, Chelsea Warner, and Aaron Bull on the visuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And can you imagine what that that music video might look like?
Um, that music video would have a lot of motion. I feel like there would be no static shots in that video. Yeah, it'd be very dynamic and it would hopefully be shot on film or just like a really good film emulation.
Mm,
Um, and I would make it a production. It would have to there would have to be like a scene that's like in a densely populated room, like a party or like a yeah, I don't know.
okay,
Mm,
okay. Nice. Okay, well, let's see if that happens. Let's see let's see if we can make that happen.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Well, Jale, thank you so much for stepping into Rue's room. Before I let you go, here's where I let people know what is going on, what's up, what's coming up, uh, all that good stuff.
Well, I am jetting off to London from July onwards. I'm going to be there for 2 months. So anybody who's planning trips to London who wants to work, I'm available and have some space. So hit me up. I'm coming back and heading straight to Brisbane for Big Sound. I've got two shows there. Very excited about that. First time at Big Sound. And then other than that, I'm working diligently on my next album. I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Very, very excited. Very excited. Again, Ijale Minutia is out right now. Yes, I finally remembered, even though I wasn't saying the word for a while. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for jumping on Bridge Room.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, man. Honestly.